I'm Aaron Graber with Ventrac, and in this video, we're going to show you how to connect and disconnect the loader attachment on a 4520 tractor. There's a few things you need to learn about the loader and how it connects to the machine before we get there, so I'll go through all of those parts, and then we'll show the process from start to finish, both connecting and disconnecting. So the first thing you want to be aware of is that there are three places that this loader connects to the tractor. This rear loader mount on the loader bar, the hitch arms of the tractor, the front hitch arms, and the hydraulic hoses. Those are the three spots that you have to be concerned about. And there's an order of operations to do this. So when you go to connect to this loader, the position that you see it in now is fully connected, fully operable. When you go to connect into this loader, it'll be in its state resting so that it's ready to receive the hitch arms. You'll slide in with the hitch arms of the tractor. Then after that, you'll connect the hydraulic hoses. That'll allow you to make movements with the loader. And then you'll use the hitch arms of the tractor to roll that loader back onto the loader bar where you'll connect the pin here. To disconnect, it's just the opposite movements. So you'll disconnect here first, you'll leave the hydraulic hoses connected, roll the loader forward into its disconnect position, and then disconnect the hoses, disconnect the hitch arms of the tractor, and drive the machine out. Those are really the only three things that you have to worry about getting paired together with the machine and the attachment. And if you do all of those things and you keep in mind all of the different controls, this is actually a pretty simple process and can be done in just a couple minutes. So now we're going to demonstrate from start to finish, connecting to the loader, doing all the steps, making the movements, and then disconnecting to the loader and leaving it in its final resting position. Once all of these hoses have been connected, just make sure that there's not any interference with the PTO tension lever. Other than that, those hoses can rest right on the side of the tractor without putting them in behind anything. There's too many to go in the normal slot where you would have a normal attachment that only has 2 or 4 hoses. So the only thing you have to do before you roll this back is to make sure that none of them are catching on that PTO tension lever. After those simple steps, you are done installing the loader and you are ready to use it. You can tell I checked all of the movements just to make sure everything's functioning well, and it is, so we're ready to go to work. The only other thing that you need to remember is that when you turn the tractor off, this switch either needs to be off, or if it is on, it's going to default to the off position. So if I turn the tractor off and then I turn it back on, I always either need to cycle this switch or start with it off to begin with. That way my loader arms will be selected. If I don't cycle that switch, it'll default to the tractor side hitch arms, and you'll notice that if you make movements with this, it won't actually raise and lower the loader, it will raise and lower the loader attachment, and you'll see that tension on that bar. I'll actually demonstrate what that looks like so that you can tell if that's happening, what you have to do, and what you want to be aware of in case that happens to you. So the switch would be on right now. I have the tractor off. I'm going to turn the tractor on. So you saw what that looked like with that switch off. If I tried to make movements, it was actually trying to rock the loader, not actually move the loader arms. And you could see it putting pressure on that loader bar, which isn't great for it. So how I fixed that was I put it in float. That relieves the pressure, puts it at a natural place, and then I just simply cycle the switch and my loader works again. Now we'll take this thing off and show how easy it is to store the loader and go on to the next attachment. Now that we've got these latches disconnected, the only thing I have to do is roll the whole loader attachment forward and make adjustments so that it's making the right contact with the ground. So here's what that looks like. So you could see I had the loader arms way too high, and that's a good thing because that's just get them out of the way. And then once I had the front post set in float, I just switched this switch to the loader arms and kept this lever in float, and then it naturally settled in. If you saw it, once that made contact with the ground, it sort of collected the whole loader, and even these arms moved just slightly. So this should be in the perfect position to drive the machine out. And the last thing that I did there was to lean forward and make sure the bucket was as close to flat as I needed it to be, and made just a little bit of a tweak there with the rear STLA lever. And now all that we have to do is disconnect the hoses and drive out of the attachment. Since some of these circuits are electrical, what you want to do is turn the key on and then move both of these STLA levers in both directions with this switch in both positions. And that will make sure that every circuit and all of the hydraulic hoses have relieved all of the pressure. If you don't do that, they'll be so pressurized that when you go to connect in the future, it'll be very difficult if you don't bleed that pressure off by breaking a fitting loose or something. Just like with all the other attachments, the best way to get out of this attachment is to make sure that the hitch arms are in float, and then give the tractor a little bit of a wiggle as you drive out, and also make sure that weight transfer isn't on. You don't need weight transfer to run this loader, so it should always be in the lowest setting. Now that I'm out of the attachment, you can see roughly where the hitch arms are, and this is a good position. They are about as high from the ground as the hitch arms of the tractor naturally rest, so there's not a lot of extra work I have to go through to get back into this attachment when I want to use it the next time. So the only other thing that there is left to do is to take these hoses, tuck them up somewhere safe, and keep them off the ground, and you are ready to go on to the next attachment.